But on the other hand, I firmly believe that everybody, still now in 2018, should work for free for a brief period of time, because it gives you so much more determination and it allows you to think outside the box. How can I make this work? And it activates like parts of your brain that otherwise
is muted. Work or life? The eternal question. As sisterMAG literally has become our life, we want to talk to others about their so-called work-life balance. We are Tony and Thea from the online magazine sisterMAG. Careers of the now. We want to know how people have become what they are now. Not only their second life after a boring job or the lucky shot that made someone famous. We talk to people who are happy about their standing in life and the way that led to it. Careers of the now is a state of mind, because it can mean that you actually do not have a career in its traditional sense at all. Listen to sisterMAG radio podcast to be inspired and to get down to work. Hello sisterMAG radio listeners, it's an exciting week. Not only do we have with Ilenia Martini from n.pr a very interesting guest in the studio, but sisterMAG radio podcast is finally available on Spotify. So if you are a new listener through Spotify, I welcome you very warmly to this podcast that features a diverse set of people who have careers of the now. That can be women like Ilenia, that you might not see every day on TV, but that have careers and ways in life that you always wanted to know more about. Ilenia started off as a photographer, what she still is, but what she does now with her partner at n.pr is so much more. Listen to our very interesting interview later in the podcast. But first, let's welcome Thea in the podcast studio. How are you?
Good.
We have been really busy with sisterMAG projects lately.
Definitely. I feel like we've had a great run on working what we heart most, sisterMAG. And you have thought a lot about the podcast, haven't you?
Yes, and it helped me a lot to sharpen the mission of our podcast. We always talked with loads of people that have interesting ways in life, and I thought that it would be even better to deepen that and talk more about that.
Definitely. So how would you describe the positioning of our podcast? What can we expect from the next episodes and our next guests?
We have named it Careers of the Now, and that not only means work life, but can also span interesting hobbies, or how someone made a hobby into a career. So let's start this new sisterMAG radio chapter with Ilenia Martini, photographer, creative consultant and strategist in the field of interior design. Our first real-life encounter was on a train between Hamburg and Berlin. A train breakdown stopped us for 4 hours in the middle of nowhere, and at one point or the other, we started talking and noticed many common friends. Ilenia's passion and expertise lies in the field of interior design, where she works as art director, photographer and visual communication strategist for brands such as Hem or Vitra. We talk about her work and how to be productive while constantly traveling, her view on Instagram and what 6 years of living in New York City taught her for life. Welcome, Ilenia. I'm so happy that you are here today in the podcast studio.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it took us a while.
Yeah.
Busy lives. And I would like to start, as I always do, and ask you who are you and what are you doing? I have to say, I asked around in the office and everybody said, Ilenia is coming. And then I said, could you explain me in a sentence what she does? And everybody was like, yeah, she does something creative, but not in a sentence. So yeah, maybe you can do that.
Yeah, first of all, sorry for my voice. It's kind of like,
Sounds good, like whiskey voice.
Yeah, exactly, like a smoker voice who doesn't smoke.
Yeah, we have November, you know, it's part of the deal.
Exactly.
Berlin in November.
I literally define myself as a slashy because I do so many things. But most and foremost, I am the co-founder of n.pr Studio, and we do. We're basically like a global communication agency, and we do a lot of work with branding and positioning and social media and creative content for interior design brands and some lifestyle clients as well.
Okay, and how did you get into this kind of work? I mean, I know it's a dream for a lot of people, and it's not as easy, of course, and so it's always interesting to hear how you got into this way.
Sure. It was not a straight line.
It's always good.
It was really like a million of waves. But I started studying media and communication. And then my passion for photography has always been there. So
what we see in your Instagram, for example.
Exactly. And that started me into working for a lot of on commercial shoots, assisting other photographers. I was at the time I was living in New York, and I was doing a lot of digital tech jobs, and on the free time I was getting as many freelance shots as possible, just to balance
getting experience
and
see what is good and what feels natural,
and also to meet people I wanted to work with and get inspired by them. Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of like what jump-started the photography career for me. And in 2011, when kind of social media started happening, I launched a blog, and during that time, the combination of the blog and Instagram together was spiral, basically. And I like the say that says start small and then snowball. That's what happened.
Okay, it's really like that. So it's interesting,
yeah, absolutely. And then from the freelance interior shoots, I started to get more involved with the interiors itself, because I didn't know that was a job, like when I grew up, you could either be like a lawyer or an architect, and that's what I wanted to be. And fast forward that to 2014, when I moved to Berlin to basically work at Hem as their head of creative. Yeah. And that's kind of like how it all happened.
Interesting.
In a very small
in
summary.
In my next question, I want to know whether Ilenia's way was a straight line, with her exactly knowing what she wanted to achieve, or more of a collaborative approach with loads of inspiration and input from others.
I think for me was trying out many different things.
Okay.
Because I've always loved interiors. I didn't get into the architecture university because I was impatient. No, actually, I could either wait 6 months and get into architecture. I had already done my tests. Or I could start right away into media and communication. So I was like, I have to.
I want to start.
Yes.
Impatient.
Yeah, totally. But I would say, for me was really trying out a lot of things until something really clicked. And the feeling of when you lose track of time when you do something, that was it for me.
Okay.
And then by doing a lot of the work and figuring out, okay, this I don't really like or not enjoying, that's what made it work.
Same with me. I had the same. You would laugh. I did 6 internships.
Yeah. Exactly.
In between, I thought I would become a tax consultant, but without trying it out. I mean, I'm good with numbers, so that's why I thought I might be maybe good in that, but it wasn't what my passion lay in. So, but you have to try it out.
You have to, and it's something that I think it's not really advocated. Like right now.
No, not
because
at all.
People give the impression that you have to have a passion, and that passion needs to be the force of your life.
Yeah.
And instead, for me, like I have a lot of other passions that I don't do anything with it, like work-wise, but they still
exist,
drive. Yeah.
And it's good. I mean, it's also good
100%.
to have other stuff besides what you're working on.
Oh yeah. Otherwise, life would be like very miserable.
Me too. But I want to follow your road first. And what kind of projects and clients you're working on? So what does it mean to work for Hem or those interior clients? I suppose you don't develop the furniture itself?
No.
So.
That's something that we haven't experienced yet.
Okay, so
No,
still
but,
something to go to.
Yeah, exactly. To look forward to. Let's say that we don't really have like one specific service list that we provide, because so far most of the clients that have come to us, it has been because of word of mouth, kind of referral. Somebody has been happy with our work and recommended us to somebody else.
That's the best.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not really, if you think about it, we should be proactive, but so far this is how it's happened, and I'm not going to complain about it. But the most creative has been creative concepts. So around their photo shoots, for instance, a brand is launching a new chair or a sofa, and we try to figure out, where does it stand in their collection, what's the price point, who's the target, and then develop what's the photo shoot going to be like, and how's the content gonna look like. Is it going to be only like photos, or is going to be photos, videos, and a podcast? How's that going to end up? And I'm super lucky that I work with my partner, who's Chris, just for reference, who is really like the creative vision behind all the content.
Oh, okay.
Which is surprising, because you would think that I would do that. But I'm the more strategic part of the business, and we do really I love data, like it's nobody's business.
It's very good that I meet another woman who loves
I love
because
to
always
geek.
it's like, it's only this, but I don't know.
I need to and that's the good thing about the relationship that we've built with our clients, is that even when it comes to social media, for instance, we want to understand who's the audience. We want to not just,
do some beautiful pictures.
Exactly.
Who doesn't mean anything in the end to the people who actually want to buy the stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And from the study of the copywriting to who's actually investing into the furniture, because some clients have, we have to call it like luxury, but the prices are so high that we have to approach it in a completely different way compared to like a
mass market.
Exactly. So for each and any one of them, we really, it's like starting from scratch, because even though some of the things could be the same, everything else is different.
Yeah, makes sense. And totally, you can't have like a schema F thing kind of, and then put it on every. You really have to think yourself inside the product or the project. Yeah.
And then again, if you were the kind of client that looks for that kind of structure, there's a million of websites and services that are kind of like the supermarket of what we do.
Of course.
So it doesn't really make sense.
No, it has to be special then, in a sense, to attract those kind of customers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, and the way we like to describe it is it's kind of that Nanny empowers the brands to tell their stories in a way that it can resonate with the market and build the culture around whatever brand we're working with.
So my next question probably doesn't make really sense when I ask you, what does your normal day look like, because you don't have a normal day? But I thought so.
We don't really have like a normal day, but of course there's like specific things like emails and phone calls and those kind of things that happen every day.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of traveling involved, because our clients are a little bit like all over the place.
Of course.
So we do a lot of that. And then when we're here, we have a studio in Mitte, and it's either like design, like a lot of computer work.
The normal working life, computer and yourself. But when you say you travel a lot, how is it? What do you need to feel comfortable to work and be in a different place, but still to be productive? Because I often feel
It's a struggle.
If I travel and be somewhere else, I don't have like, you know, the normal surrounding. Yep. You don't have like a printer, maybe if you need a printer, or you know, so many things doesn't work. So do you have some stuff you always take with you that it works, or
it's time management?
Okay.
Because for instance, what I really like to do when I travel is before my day starts, I like to get out all my emails and all the, you know, admin kind of things, and I'm a big planner. Like the day before, I like to plan what's my day gonna be like the following day, and I like to have some sort of structure. Then of course, like a million things can go wrong, or whatever,
like flights, as we just talked.
The flight gets cancelled all the time. But that really helps with time management and organizing as much as possible prior to when you're traveling, so that when you're traveling you can be focused on what you're doing, whilst the things that you would have done in your studio or office have already been taken care of. And then, if it's possible, delegate. Because that is something that I still struggle with, because, you know,
very organized people are always struggling with it.
I think there's a pattern.
To find this level of like organizational skills in another person is very difficult.
Yes.
And
but what I've learned is that not everybody needs to do everything that you want them to do. You figure out what they do best and maximize that.
This skill in that person, and like, you are my go-to person for X, and you're my go-to person for Y. That's true.
So that's kind of how I figure out how to be productive whilst traveling.
Do you have a team already here that is supporting you? You have to, because otherwise you can't travel at all.
No, so we have right now, Chris and I are the co-founders, and as I've mentioned, he's taking care of all the creative part. Then we have a graphic designer, a copywriter, and a data analyst. And then, of course, depending on the projects, we hire different freelancers and whatever creative we might need for a specific project. We hire based on the project.
Makes sense. And also, it's the way today like creative work works, because nobody can do everything. For different projects you need different visions and skills.
You need different expertise. And maybe if you are, you know, hiring a copywriter, not every copywriter can deliver the same quality of content for, you know, the luxury brand versus the, I don't know, you know, I mean, it is a lot of work, because of course you have to really, every time you have to take the time to search and for the right people, and maybe ask your network and figure out who could be the right fit, and maybe you try that person and it's not really the right fit at the time. So it's kind of tough, but I mean, it's worth the hassle.
Of course. And if you find somebody who is brilliant or is exactly on your wavelength, then it's the best.
Because then you can build up the collaboration and keep working for like a longer period of time.
And then it's easy. Then you just like throw one piece of idea to the person, and then it goes, and then it sparks.
100%. Bingo.
I exactly know what you mean. So this also leads me to my next question. Do you have like, if you feel not creative maybe, or not like inspired or things, do you have some go-to stuff what you do then to like free your head or to get new ideas?
I listen to a lot of podcasts.
Very good. Same with me. I do the same.
I love, because I think that if I'm stuck in a rut and I don't know how to get out of it, sometimes if I can, I will go to a museum, or I will take the day off, and you know, even just having a dog, our dog Andy, it's like a major creativity boost, because he's so full of energy all the time. But if I don't have that time, I will use the time that I have to listen to podcasts, and I listen to business ones, to like creative ones, to news ones. So the variety of that kind of content makes you think about something else.
Yeah.
And then maybe like
It comes into
yes,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Do you have some suggestions for our listeners? What you can recommend?
Ooh. I have many.
Go on.
What to choose? I love How I Built This from NPR.
Yeah, yeah.
Really love to understand like why business succeed and how like they go about it.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a very nice episode on Instagram
I have to
super
listen.
interesting.
Yeah.
Then we talked about this, but I love Second Life.
Yeah, my favorite one.
It's great. And then I'm really fond of. Come on, I'll just throw it down there. It's a mental health podcast from Jen Gotch.
Oh, yeah.
It's called Jen Gotch, Sometimes It's Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Or Is Okay Sometimes.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, and she also has a very good voice. And then, I know that as well. Yeah, that's a good one as well. Yeah. I found it very interesting what in a kind of short period of time, how it exploded. Yeah.
Because I think it has to do a lot with time optimization, because you can literally listen to podcasts if you're doing anything else. It's not like a TV show or like a YouTube video, you know, where you really have to sit down. You can be driving, you can be walking, grocery shopping, whatever, and have your headphones on.
And it makes me hopeful for kind of the humankind, because it is more, you know, it's not those trash content, it's a lot of good content and very well thought through, like very articulate people, the kind of stuff that people said were lost when people stopped reading newspapers or long form stories.
That's a very good observation, because in the end it's of course I'm sure there's like a million of, you know, silly podcasts but it's the kind of entertainment that it's the same as, you know, you want to entertain yourself with like a silly YouTube video. That's going to be always there.
Of course. And it has a place.
Exactly.
People need it. It's also relaxation.
Yes.
Better than to drink or to do
100%.
Yeah, I think the same. Next part of our interview, we dive into the world of social media. When we met, Ilenia was one of the early adopters of the Instagram Stories vlogging format. I asked her why she started her daily broadcast, how the reactions were, and the reason to stop it.
It's kind of like strange, because when we met, I was on month 4. Of doing daily Instagram stories, like a vlog format.
Yeah.
And I would basically edit them as you would do for like a YouTube video.
In Premiere, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Shoot vertical, and then post it on Instagram story, because I was so tired. It came from like a personal rejection towards Instagram. I was so tired of flipping through stories of people just randomly posting things that didn't really matter to them either.
Yeah.
And nobody was really talking about how's your actual day. And you know, you have snippets of your, I don't know, something interesting that happens, and then you go quiet for a very long time, and then you go on holiday, and all of a sudden you have content for months, you know?
I know.
I was so tired of that that I decided to say, hey, if my day is going to be only like computer time, I'm gonna show computer time.
Yeah, you were kind of the first one I saw that. Most people were really just the highlights.
Yeah. And that was like really was a spiral, because so many people were actually interested into that kind of content, and the views started
skyrocketing.
Literally. Like the best performing one had 22,000 views.
Wow.
Which for Instagram stories is
insane.
Yes.
If you get 10% of your followers, you're already good.
Yes. You're like, oh my, I did well.
Yeah, I know.
And I think it was only because of the honesty. If I was not doing anything, like I made my mind up to say, if today nothing is happening, I'm gonna show that nothing is happening. I'm not gonna do anything for the sake of creating the content. Because I also believe that many people actually do plan their weekends or whatever
around Instagram.
For Instagram.
Yeah, it's so funny. We are in a strange world.
So at that time, I was really invested every day. I have posted for 4 months, no, actually 5 months every day, at least between like 30 to 1 minute, 30 seconds to 1 minute, and then really I got burned out.
Of course, it's like
I don't know how they can maintain that kind of lifestyle.
Yeah.
But I really got burned out.
Yeah, I can understand totally.
And the flip side of that, and I wrote about it, was that clients did not really, and I guess, I mean, it's the other side of the spectrum where you give up your privacy.
Yeah.
And you put yourself up to other people's judgment. But the fact that the clients were, oh, I saw that you are, I don't know, in Spain, or hey, I saw that you have, are you working, you know, that kind of.
They gave you kind of like a.
For me, it was so tricky because my own Instagram is so the polar opposite of my business. Not necessarily if I am, and I try to share, and I try not to share content that it's connected to work and clients.
True, yeah, it's separated.
It's very separate.
Yeah.
Because I want my own Instagram to be my own thing.
Yeah.
And then the business, Nanny Studio can do its own thing.
Of course.
And I don't have to be, you know, the spokesperson of the studio.
Yeah.
And the client don't necessarily understand that. They really do. I mean, if I was in Milan, I would get questions, or even just the fact that they would say, hey, we saw that you were there, we could have had a meeting or something like that.
There's a lot of pressure.
It's really a lot of pressure.
Yeah. So you stopped.
Yes. And if I was doing, I don't know, a collaboration as an influencer, I hate this world, but if I was doing a collaboration as an influencer and the client would be like, oh, we saw that you worked with such and such, how was it? For me, that's already like, oh my gosh, no, because personal, it needs to stay personal.
Yeah.
And business is business.
It's business, yeah. I get that. So no more stories from you.
Now I'm having like a little bit of a comeback feeling, because I had like, after really I felt like burnout, I needed time to, I started muting people.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Because really I felt that sometimes it's the habit.
Yeah.
You scroll for habit. You watch for habit.
It's like watching TV.
Yeah.
It is. It is like when you, in the past, you just sat in front of the TV and randomly like sat there and watched stupid stuff.
And it's a passive consumption of the wrong people.
Yeah.
That either, that I started thinking, how do I feel after I scrolled and watched Instagram? And I started feeling less and less motivated, less inspired, less, you know, interested.
Yeah.
To the point that I was forgetting that Instagram even existed. Because the time off of Instagram was making me feel so much better. Because most of the times you create this kind of idea of your life.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
That is so far from the truth.
Yeah.
And people think, you know, I once posted like a story of, this is how it looks like when you have to travel.
Yeah.
And it was not nice because you have a lot of equipment and you're tired because the working days are super long. You have zero time for yourself. But somehow people idealize like, the travel life, and they're all like, oh, I really wish I could do that, you know. But then when you see the reality, it's kind of like, okay, it's tough. Yeah. It's nice, but it's also tough.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, exactly.
I know. And you carry around a lot of stuff all the time. Like when people, we had interns coming in and saying, "Oh, you don't have somebody who carries the stuff?"
No.
They were actually saying, "When are the carriers coming?" And we're like, they are here. It's us.
We have to pick up those boxes.
Of course.
It is how it is.
It is part of the life, You have very interesting experiences, but you are in it,
But somehow not many people actually go through the honest conversations of, the 4 a.m. wake-up call because you have, a flight to catch or a shoot to be on and things like that. And you just see the awesome...
Glamorous.
Yes.
Yeah.
And nothing bad happens. Yeah. And you're not frustrated ever.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with that.
Yeah, that's true. So you had your digital detox then?
Yes. Yep.
Would you recommend it to do it regularly?
Yes.
Yeah, probably it's good.
But then it's harder to get back on it. Because now that's the phase I'm in. I've been so happily detoxified that now I'm struggling to go back in because it's a tough balance. So trying to find what's a good ratio of living your life outside of social media and while still being present, it's a tough pickle.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have the luxury of being away from social media because it's also like a big part of our businesses.
Yeah.
So we cannot completely cut it off.
No, wouldn't work at all.
No.
And it wouldn't also be good because if you have to have the right mindset.
Yes.
You have to know, okay, this is kind of a Wonderland, like Alice in Wonderland thing. It's not honest, but you get inspiration out of it, and then you also find people maybe, but you are not allowed to believe this is 100% the truth or the reality.
Yeah.
And that is really hard.
It's hard also because you're talking to the whole world.
Yeah.
So it's not only that if we are in Berlin, we talk with Germany. We literally are talking to the US, to France, to Italy, to the UK.
And they're different.
Yes, and everybody has their own sets of expectations. Yeah. And they kind of like project what they think your life is. And then they get surprised when you're like, no, I carry my own equipment. Yeah. I don't have like a magic boy that does stuff for me,
Give me the
kind
magic
of like
boy.
a Wes Anderson, No,
I know that. It's good that you said something about the different countries, because I know you're Italian.
Yes.
You lived 6 years in the States, in New York. Yeah. Now you're here in Berlin.
Yeah.
So how has that been for you? Because I mean, those 3 places are very different, I would say. So from my experience,
so different.
Okay, so
well, I basically the first kind of stop was London, where I studied, and after that New York. I always wanted to be there, and when we moved there, the we is Chris and I, because we went there.
Your package deal?
Yes. That's fun. We moved there. It was to do our master. So I did filmmaking and direction of photography.
Oh, okay.
So because of course the passion for photography really moved a lot into film and video and all of that. So that's why also I have this huge passion for video, for the video format. Yeah. But we moved there, and the first 2/3 years were such a shock that even after London, New York was really like a cold shower. It was the toughest that I ever, the toughest situations, living situation that I had ever lived in my whole life, and nobody prepared me emotionally for that.
Okay.
It was super intense, not only from a cultural point of view, because of course you have this idea that it's a fast-paced life, and everything is beautiful, and sure, that's
one part
valid.
Yeah.
But the other side that nobody really talks about is the human side. Yeah. That there's no human side. And I mean, I'm sure, there's the exception to every rule, and I don't want to, speak widely of something that, cannot be generalized. But you struggle into having real connection with people.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of politeness around, and there's a lot of networking that happens, because of course it's the nature of the city. Everybody's there for a reason. Nobody's just there because, you know, they like it and tra-la-la.
That's too expensive for that.
Oh my gosh.
You have to go somewhere else.
And even just that, whilst I was studying, I had to work. And then at the end of the studies, I had to work many jobs that were not paid. So many internships that were not paid in food, in transportation, in anything. And on the side, I had to do, you know, the barista at the coffee
typical
shop
stuff to get the money.
Yes. So having to do all that work to have some money to, I don't know, either pay your rent or even just have, you know, some little money to buy yourself a coffee, puts you under so much pressure that you get so hyper-focused on work that you forget that you can have friends and you can enjoy like your life. I'm sure now things, you know, are a little bit different. At least internships have been regulated a little bit and, you know, things like that.
It's not only exploitation.
Yes. But on the other hand, I firmly believe that everybody still now in 2018 should work for free for a brief period of time, because it gives you like so much more determination, and it allows you to think outside the box. How can I make this work? And it activates like parts of your brain that otherwise
is muted.
Yes. That kind of scrappiness. I can
to
do it. Let's
and
figure it out. Yes. That's so good.
And it's what you learn probably there. Because everybody does.
Yes. Everybody does it. So it's not that you feel special or anything. Everybody does it, and everybody has. And because you're not from the US, you already feel like a disadvantage, because finding an apartment is so much harder, and getting your bank account is so much harder. Getting a phone number was like, my gosh, like a nightmare. It took us 3 years to get like a proper phone number contract.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
They make it really difficult.
They do. And now, I don't want to get into politics, but now it's like worse than ever.
Yeah, I can imagine. So kind of like this hustle and to do it constantly was also the reason then to think maybe there are other places? Or what was the reasoning then to...
We never meant to leave, because the only plan that we had in mind was to move to LA instead of New York. But it kind of happened. We stepped outside of the United States to redo our visas. And at that time, we had a friend. We had filmmaker friend. He works for like the German television, and he's like a director. In that time, I have to do one step backwards. From New York, we went to Scotland because some of my mom's relatives are there. So we went there, and during that time, this friend of ours was working on a movie, and he asked me to design his poster. So basically, we kind of did an exchange. He offered me to stay in Berlin whilst I designed the poster for him.
Of course.
That seemed like a great deal. I had never been in Berlin before.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And during that time, because of Instagram, I got an interview with him. And I left for 1 week, then came back and started like working.
And so you're here still?
Yep, and we never officially moved from New York. We still have all our furniture in storage.
Really?
Yep.
Still a foot in New York.
Yep.
Very
romantic.
Yeah, romantic. It's like, you have to feel like you could go back anytime.
Yeah. Now it's been 4 years, so let's be honest.
The realistic observation is maybe not.
Yeah, we have to figure that out.
Yeah, but it's a very interesting story. That leads me also to my final question.
Cool.
Because like sisterMAG Radio is much about the career of the now. So I interview people how they became what they are now.
Yeah, I love the interviews.
Yeah, and so my new last question is, if you could go back in time and ask yourself as a younger person, are you satisfied what you are now, or would you change something?
That's a tough question.
Yeah, I know.
It's a super tough question.
Maybe and maybe.
I think, first of all, I would tell my younger self to chill out because, everything is going to be fine.
Of course. Younger selves will never believe that, of course.
No, not at all. But somehow I would expose myself to more fields because not traditionally one field can merge into another and another and another. But what I found out with age is that all the skills that I've gotten, even from my barista jobs, help me right now.
Yeah.
Because you sometimes put your, glasses on and you're like, okay, I want to be, a photographer.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, my barista job is not going to help me with my photography. So why should I do that? But then you gather, that kind of
interpersonal skills, for example.
Yes.
You need as a photographer to make people feel relaxed,
100%,
or just to negotiate things.
Yes, all the time.
Difficult clients who are not satisfied. Classic barista job. People are complaining. Yeah.
My coffee tastes like poop. I want another one. So all of those kind of things that at the time to me seemed like, I don't know, either a waste of time or that I had to do just because of the money, I would be exposed to as many fields as possible and learn as much as possible so that once you figure out what you're good at and what you love doing, you have all these other complementary sets of skills that otherwise you wouldn't put in. And I mean, nowadays, literally, there's so much information on the internet that you can be exposed to as much as possible.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good last word.
Oh, great.
Thank you so much. And
thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, and it was a lovely talk. So,
yeah, we should continue.
Yeah, we should meet on the train again. To celebrate our new listing on Spotify, we have a special giveaway, so just go to sister_mag on Instagram and enter to get a really lovely package. Thank you for listening to sisterMAG Radio podcast. It was a delight having you. If you liked our podcast, please subscribe to us on iTunes, SoundCloud or Spotify. Also, a rating or a comment or just a share on any social media network helps to get the word out. Thank you.